What's going on today, guys? We got a 2010 Honda Civic that I got from auction. Checked it out there on the lot and it ran perfectly fine, but as I was getting it on the trailer it started overheating, so I was thinking maybe it was just a water pump or maybe a thermostat. So I ordered both of those parts, and actually I looked in the coolant and there was no coolant, and when I looked under the cap it was a milky residue, and obviously that's a blown head gasket. So we have this product here, which is by BlueDevil, and I've looked at several reviews on online and on YouTube, and people have good results with it. So we're going to put it in the Civic and see if we can restore the blown head gasket, because it seems to be running perfectly fine. It just has a coolant leak inside one of the cylinders somewhere. So instead of me having to tear this all down, we're going to see if this will work first. So stick around and find out. All right, so your first step on the radiator flush, it says just to fill it with water and run it for 10 minutes. So I've already got it filled with water, so we're going to go ahead and run it for 10 minutes. All right, we'll go ahead and start the clock for 10 minutes and we'll come back and see what's happened. One more step I almost forgot to tell you is you're going to want to turn your heat all the way on and then turn it wide open, so that way it flows all the way through your heater core. She runs good, but you can definitely tell that it's got a head gasket leak somewhere. So hopefully, since it's a small leak, this stuff will fix it and I don't have to tear this thing apart. All right, so once you've let the car run for 10 minutes, you're going to drain that water out, and then it's time to add your radiator flush. So we'll go ahead and add this, and then we'll top it off with water and we'll let it run for another 10 minutes. So once you add this in, it does say on the back to top it off as the engine is running, and then you're going to want to let it run for another 10 minutes. We just cut it off on the second 10-minute run with the cleaner in there. I would say it does pretty well. That water looks a lot different than it did the first time. Now you're going to want to let it cool off and then drain this, and then you should be ready to start your head gasket sealer. So once I drained it with the radiator flush, I actually ended up filling it back up with water, and I ran it for maybe 5 minutes. And then now I'm just draining that water out to flush it one more time, because on the container it said to make sure to get rid of all the solution. All right, so it's the next day. I let the engine completely cool. On the back of these directions it says add to a cool engine. So according to the chart here, it says we're only supposed to use half a quart, so that's about half this bottle. So I've poured out half this bottle, and we're going to fill up the system with water, and then we're going to slowly pour it. It says it should take about 30 seconds, so you want to pour this in there slowly. Take about 30 seconds to pour it, and then we're going to let the engine run for 50 minutes. All right, so we poured it in there slowly. You gotta wait, you gotta pour it for 30 seconds. And we got the radiator cap on, and we're gonna start the time now. So at 9 o'clock, we'll come back and we'll check on it and we'll see where she is. All right, so it is 8:49. The bottle says to let it run for 50 minutes. It actually held temperature really well the entire time. So I'm assuming that means it's fixed. The next step on the bottle just is to turn the car off and let it cool off for several hours, and then you got to obviously put your thermostat back in and fill it with coolant. So I just let the engine cool for a couple hours, and I've got my thermostat back in there. From the looks of it, there are no air bubbles coming up, so it must have sealed. We'll finish getting the coolant bled off, and we'll take it for a ride and see how it does. guys. We've been driving it around for about 10 minutes and everything seems to be perfectly fine. I've honestly never had one of these fixes in a bottle work, but it's worked. I would strongly recommend it. If you don't want to change a head gasket, obviously the proper way to do it is change a head gasket, but if you don't want to do it and it's a small leak, I don't see anything wrong with doing this. If you would, comment, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.